Good evening. Welcome to Get Ready. This is Carlos Carr Sr., better known as the KCOG, trying to get you ready for what's to come in this world. Excuse me while I make an adjustment. Do apologize there. There's the OG. Yeah, we feeling right now. Had to get that done, y'all. But anyway, welcome to the show. We got a good show lined up for you tonight. We have from the 5th District City Council of Kansas City, we have Councilman, that's 5th District at large. We have Councilman Lee Barnes, who's going to join us to start the show off. We're going to talk a little bit about the politics here in Kansas City, Missouri. Hopefully get a clear idea of what the mayor is up to. So just give me a moment. Let me get a few things out of the way and we will get to that. Look here, y'all. This nice little brim I'm wearing. Check it out. It's real nice. It's real nice. You need to go down to the Missing Piece at Crown Center. The brothers has a lot of nice straw hats down there, and you should go down there and patronize that brother. He's a real good brother, so go down and do that. That's again in the Crown Center shops. He's on the 2nd floor. I don't have his address in front of me at this moment, but he is on the 2nd floor. And with that said, what we're going to do is go ahead and introduce our topic for tonight. And our topic for tonight is what's going on here in Kansas City as far as the mayor's attempt to control the police budget, as well as the homelessness situation that we are going to be seeing again here in Kansas City. We're going to talk just a little bit about that, and of course about Councilman Barnes' career and the things he's been up to. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and bring in Councilman Lee Barnes. There he is. Councilman Barnes, good to see you, brother. Are you muted or am I muted?
I think I didn't have my volume up. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. Good to see you. It's been a long time. And before we really get into this, I got to give you a little backstory about Mr. Barnes and myself. As most people know, I'm originally from Kansas City. I left Kansas City in '95 to work a job. My job pulled me out of here. So I went up there and stayed for 26 years. But prior to leaving Kansas City, Mr. Barnes and I was part of the same organization and was doing some good work on the ground together. So that's the little bit of history on Mr. Barnes. I heard he has gone on to be on the Board of Education and then to the City Council. And this is your second or third term?
This is my second term on the City Council.
Second term on the City Council. He's also in charge of one of the biggest committees coming out of the city, and is that the is it finance or housing and
no, it's neighborhood planning and development.
Neighborhood planning and development. That's exactly what it is. Sorry about that. I don't know why I slipped that because I read everything and knew that was it. I just slipped it. Sorry about that. But that's huge.
Yeah, I happen to be on the finance and governance committee as well, but I actually chair the neighborhood planning and development committee.
Fantastic. But before we get into you, let's talk a little bit about the mayor. First of all, I've been gone for a minute. I don't know the backstory on the mayor. I hear he is from Kansas City originally and grew up within the inner city of Kansas City. But that's about all the information I have on him. Could you give us a little update, a little information about who the mayor is? We're talking about Mayor Quentin Lucas, by the way.
Right. Quentin and I served, our Mayor Lucas and I served on the council, my first term and his first term actually, to get together. And we were actually both were on the same committee, which was the Planning and Zoning and Economic Development Committee, which is now the Neighborhood Planning and Development Committee. So it's essentially the same committee. I've worked with Mayor Lucas pretty extensively as it relates to trying to get development projects here in Kansas City, and all of the other things that we do relating to governing the city itself. Um, he and I work well together. You know, we don't always agree 100% with each other, but that's to be expected on any level with human beings. You know,
True.
you're not gonna agree 100%, but we both know how to agree and not be disagreeable, as that is an issue that sometimes happens, particularly within our community.
Right. And you can imagine the boardrooms these guys are sitting in trying to get their points across, and you have to be somewhat of a diplomat so that you don't become disagreeable. Give us we want to get to this thing on the mayor. I really think I really have a lot of respect that he even did it, where he actually took control of a small portion of the police budget to redirect those funds to community policing, from my understanding. If you can give us more details on that.
Yeah, so it's $42 million, and the total police budget is about 230 some odd million dollars. So it's the highest department budget that we have within the city. And by state statute, we are required to spend at least 20% of our operating budget on public safety, in particular police.
Mm-hmm.
We actually spend more than that. We're probably up to 27, 28%. And so what we decided to do was, well, let me back up just a little. And so with those dollars that we give to police, they submit a budget to us, and we review it, and we may be able to make some suggestions as to some things that we'd like to see changed, or things that we may want to incorporate within the budget. But once we approve the dollars that we send to them, we don't necessarily approve their budget. So their budget is operated and controlled by the Board of Police Commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be some things that, we say, okay, we want to give you $10 million to do X, Y, and Z. And they can say, okay, we'll try to incorporate that within our operations. And if they don't happen to incorporate that within their operations, just so be it. We weren't able to do that. We had to do some different things with that portion of the budget.
Gotcha.
So what we decided was that one of the things that we'd like to see is those things that are above the 20%. Let's have some agreements, some contractual agreements saying you're going to spend this money this certain way, doing this, and you may spend $5 million on public engagement. You may spend $2 million on something different, whatever the case may be. But that money is still basically controlled by the police, but they have to at least go into an agreement with us that those dollars will definitely be spent on those different things.
Okay.
That's how that works out.
Man, it's actually a power struggle. Is what it sounded like, as to who's going to control what. And with the police board, and I understand the mayor is on the police board also,
right.
But he may not have the support to push money in certain directions, so he uses executive power in order to do so.
Well, I mean, over the portion of the budget that is not statutorily required for us to give them, that 20%, which is a little over $2 million, Uh, that money is going to be given to them, no questions asked. But the other 45 million, we want to say, hey, let's have some discussion about exactly what happens with these things.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. And of course, everybody's aware of the relationship between the Black community and the police department. Mayor Lucas is African American, for those who are not aware of it. Mayor Lucas is also very interested in reparations here in Kansas City. And I know that's a model that is being followed in other cities. We haven't heard the latest update on that, and I don't know if that is something that is even within the city council at this point on how you're going to provide these reparations.
No, at this point, we have not had those discussions. I think that's something that will definitely be within the purview of planning, and it's going to take. It's not something that's just going to happen, overnight. Carlos, you may recall that even back in '95, before you left here in Kansas City, we were having extensive discussions about reparations within the organizations that we were a part of. So it's been a long struggle. You remember the Obadelis, who were essential in getting Cobra started.
Right.
So we know this is a long game. It's not something that's gonna just happen overnight.
But let me turn things back to the mayor. Again, I thought it took a lot of intestinal fortitude for him to just snatch a portion of the police budget and say, we're going to set this over here for community police relations. And even though he's connected with the police board and he is the executive of this particular city, generally you don't hear about, well, the biggest part of it is that when I heard about this and then I heard about the protest that was going on within the city behind this, and I looked at the areas where that protest was coming from, like north of the river, extreme east, or well, the west doesn't matter here in Kansas City, but mostly north of the river and extreme east, there was quite a bit of clamoring about us, defund the police. I really don't care for that particular term. I wish it was invented in a different way, because I see it as redirecting funds, not defunding, but redirecting funds.
Well, and that's exactly what we're looking to do. That's that whole defund the police narrative in terms of the way some of the folks who are in opposition to us negotiating that portion of the budget. They're using that narrative as so negatively that to make it sound like we're just snatching money from the police, and with that, you're going to take all of the police officers off of the street and all of that, which is just definitely not the case.
No,
it's not the truth.
No.
The truth is, we want to have some conversation about doing some things a little differently, and let's have that conversation and put some things in writing that we want to see that may be able to help us, combat some of this crime that we're having.
Right. Well, it's interesting because, of course, the police union, I believe it was the union, filed a lawsuit against the city over this money, or was that the police board itself?
It's the police board.
Okay, police board.
Police board.
All right.
Yep.
So rather than and I don't know if there was any negotiation prior to it getting to that point. Might have been some talk, especially with the mayor on the police board. I'm quite sure there was some conversation about it, but obviously the police board feels that the control of their budget should be within their control, and that's why I call it a power strike. They just don't like the fact that someone outside of that police board is saying, no, we're going to keep this money. We're going to do something different with it.
Well, and again, it's not like we are planning to do something other than policing with those dollars. These dollars are going to be used to um, help effectuate some change within the police department.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're going to spend those dollars with and go out and spend them on snow removal.
Right.
These dollars are going to be spent within the community to help us do more community policing.
And that's it's such a joy to hear that. And people cannot get the concept. I was reading up on that very subject of community policing, and some of the concepts that they've thought about is putting more money into public safety officers and allow public safety officers to do things like, come to an accident, do traffic watch and tickets, watching speed limit and things of that nature. These are areas that, according to a document, and I can't call it right now, but I did a little research on it. What they're saying is that the majority of these situations where the police and the person they stop turns ugly has been basically behind traffic stops. And traffic stops should be one of the easiest things a police officer has to deal with, if you ask me. Now, I know there's a lot of different people out there and the state of guns in this nation and things of that nature. With everybody walking around carrying a gun, I know they have to be a little extra careful, but there is something about being stopped by a public safety officer that is a little different than being stopped by a cop, by actual police.
Well, and we're looking at making sure that as a community, every situation doesn't ramp itself up to where it calls for strong arm policing.
Right.
If you and I are going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, we kind of anticipate getting a ticket.
Right. And like I said, most people, unless there's some warrants or something that they got on themselves, most people on a traffic stop, it's pretty harmless. But even a public safety officer, if he runs the tags and find out this gentleman has a warrant on him, then you would expect the public safety officer to call at that point for backup.
Right. Yeah.
But I think the whole concept is a better concept of community policing. Here's another one I just saw where I believe it's here, or if it's not, it's in the state of Missouri, where they're trying to change it where cops can live within a 30-mile radius of their job. Well, that's devastating to the Black community, if you ask me.
Well, and Carlos, that was another one of the pieces of legislation coming out of Jefferson City that we feel it's almost a slap in the face of those of us here in Kansas City, particularly those of us within the urban core.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those situations to say, I can police you, but I don't want to live with you.
Right.
And we all know it's just the same as years ago when you had teachers and your dentists and your doctors living within the community. It makes for a better relationship within the community. Well, it's the same with the police officers, firefighters.
Right.
If you live with folks and if you live amongst people, generally when you have those things happen, you may have relationships that you build. But if you live up in Kearney, Missouri, and no knock on Kearney, but if you live in Kearney every day, and I'm sure you're not going to have much of a relationship with folks who are down on 35th and Elmwood.
True. That's very true.
So when you are policing and you get a call for 35th and Elmwood, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to have any relationship with the folks down there anyway.
True.
So
But
I just don't think that was a very smart move for the betterment of our city.
And I totally agree with that, man. I mean, it's like I said, it's devastating for our community because we know for a fact, we've seen it. We have way too many examples that we've seen within the last year or so of the differences in policing in the communities of colors versus the dominant community. I mean, you really see a difference in the way that they police. I saw a video just to give you an idea. I saw a video of a cop addressing an older guy in a truck, a pickup truck. And the older guy got really rambunctious with the cop to the point that the cop was trying to get the guy out of the truck. And what the driver of the truck did was grab the cop's arm and hit the gas and drove, kind of dragged the cop about 100 or so feet. Now, if that would have been a black driver, that car wouldn't have moved. That's the sad thing about it. But to get back on point with things, I don't know how we would be able to overturn that, and that's one of the reasons. One of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, Councilman Barnes, is to kind of explain the process. And then we're going to get to your committee here in a moment. But let's say that as a citizen, I have a concern. Let's say this concern about officers living within 30 miles of the city. And I'm saying, I don't agree with that. And I know that the state of Missouri is the one that overturned that. But is there anything that we can do internally or locally to override that decision?
No, actually, at this point, the only thing that can be done is would be at the state level. And that would be for petition drive to referendum drive to have that law repealed, which would take a vote of the entire state. So we'd have to get you'd have to get signatures from, I can't remember exactly how many. I think it's like 15,000 signatures. Mm-hmm. Put it on the ballot for the entire state. And what I think is just so amazing is that the state representatives that sponsored this bill, they represent probably 2 miles of Kansas City. If that.
Really?
Oh yeah. I can't remember the guy's name, but he lives in Parkville. But a part of his district butts into the Northland part of Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And it probably represents 15 to 20 people who live in Kansas City. But yeah, he and there was another Northland, not even Kansas City resident, representative also sponsored that bill with him. Luke Meyer is his name.
Luke Meyer. That figures. Now, what they should have done, and they're probably trying to get some of these smaller towns to be able to have officers come in and apply. But I think there's 3 major cities in the state of Missouri that's over 100,000, and that's St. Louis, Kansas City, and Springfield.
Right.
And I'm quite sure all 3 of those cities have large Black and brown communities in them, especially with the way that the population is exploding among brown people here in the United States. So you would think that they could have said, well, we'll write this law, but we don't want to include those 3 cities. Because
no. Understand, that law is only for Kansas City.
You kidding me?
No. That law is only for Kansas City. Yeah.
No.
for Kansas City.
That won't work. We got some work to do. We should have the
Kansas-
state senator that represents us. Just to remember the state legislation here, that you do have a House and a Senate in this state.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Up in Nebraska, they have a unicameral where there's only just senators for the
Oh,
state.
really?
Yeah. So a little different here, but you got a House. And I remember at one time, Lord Daniels, part of the state representative.
Years ago, yeah, back, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
so
it represents the 90s. Yeah.
okay, so we got some work to do there because that has to be overturned. That's going to spell disaster for the inner city of Kansas City, where people who are not familiar with Kansas City, just about the entire east side of Kansas City, until you get into the suburban cities, is black. Just about the entire east side. And then that goes from north to south on the east side. I mean, we're a huge part of the population here. Brown, Hispanics and Latinos have had, I think things have changed, but I hear now that not only are they on the west side, but they're now coming into northeast around Independence in that area down there.
Yes,
right. Well, those are the high crime areas.
Yeah.
According to them. And you mean to tell me you want to send in more paratroopers from outside the state, outside the city? People who don't understand the core? That's crazy, man. That's totally crazy. I don't get it. But yeah, we got some work to do on that one, brother. We might have to have some conversation on how we can get organized to get something done about that. Let's go ahead and move it on to get it back on you and the focus on you, Lee. Go ahead. Let's talk about, first of all, go ahead and give the people your real bio. I mentioned the things I remembered and I did look you up for your current position, except I forgot about you're on the Housing Development Committee, the chair of that. But tell the people about what your career has been and since you've been in politics.
Well, actually, I've served as a politician just this one time and served on the school board for 4 years back from 1998 to 2002. Mm-hmm. But I'm a trained engineer, industrial engineer. I went to Kansas State University and received a degree in engineering. Worked at Hallmark Cards for several years. And after that, I started my own business, and then I bought and sold two different businesses over the course of the next 15 years.
Man.
And after doing that, I started working with nonprofit agency called the Upper Room.
The Upper Room, okay.
The director of operations for that organization for 20 years. So we've been doing, or 18 years, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And we grew the organization from, being a organization that had one site that we worked with 90 children, and to a point where we were working with 30 different churches and neighborhood churches and community centers. And we did tutoring of children. We had a summer school program at Child Development Center, where we were operating and serving 3,000 kids every summer.
Fantastic. Where are you located at, Lee?
The offices now are at the Westport Plex Pod. We officed over in the upper stairs of St. Louis Catholic Church for almost 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we grew the organization from a organization that, like I said, we worked with about 90 kids to now to where we're working with 3,000 kids every summer. A budget, up to $300,000 to $10 million budget.
Fantastic. Man, we want to give some information out about the upper room. Where can people get up on them? Website information like that.
The website is the upperroomkc.org. Roomkc.org. And if you have kids that you want to have in an after school program, children in our child development center, license for 120 kids in our child development center.
Mm-hmm.
Look us up at the upperroomkc.org.
Man, so that is some great work, but you have been very familiar with that kind of work when I was here. I'm quite sure you used to be one of the mentors over at the Boys Learning Center.
Right.
So so that's right down your line, Lee. I mean, you probably have done a lot to help them grow even more, just based off of what you've done in the community. And I remember you said you sold 3 businesses. I remember when I left here, you had a water franchise, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bottled water distribution center.
Uh-huh.
I started off by purchasing a industrial steam cleaning company. And while operating that, I purchased a bottled water distributorship, and then I had a chicken processing plant here in Kansas City.
Did you say chicken processing?
Yes, yeah. We were what you would call a further processing plant. We didn't go out, we didn't raise them and grow them and cut the heads off, but they would do that down in Mississippi and Arkansas, and we'd get 2 truckloads a day, and we would cut them to specifications for restaurants and country clubs, that kind of thing.
Man, yeah. You've been a very busy man since I've been gone, bro.
Yeah, but it's been over 26 years.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. And I really wish I had a chance to turn into getting into a business, but when the job that pulled me out of here, I ended up working 24 years with, and retired from them. So,
okay.
So once you get into it to a point, you're past that point of no return. I ain't going nowhere now, especially when they offer a pension, and not very many companies do that now.
Right.
So it was like, nah, I'm riding this one out, buddy. I don't care what nobody said. But let's get it back to you. The Development and Housing Committee. You're in charge of a lot, especially when it comes to public housing. And one of the things that I mentioned is the issue of homelessness here in Kansas City. Could you speak on those 2 things, sir?
Yeah, well, we actually have a separate committee that is a housing committee.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the committee that I chair.
Okay.
We work with them, as all of my colleagues work with trying to deal with this homeless, houseless situation here in Kansas City. I have one colleague in particular who, for the last few weeks, really worked hard to make sure that all of the individuals who were placed in the hotels that we were paying for were able to be placed in one of the shelters, like the Hope House and the Salvation Army and all of those places. So those individuals weren't just kicked out of the hotels and had nowhere to go. So.
Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of those people got. I believe it was after winter. It was probably into the spring when they finally decided to shut down the mock tent city down at City Hall, wasn't it?
Right. That's when we assisted a lot of those people into getting hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to develop some type of plan in terms of being able to assist those folks going further, because the hotel rooms was not, that could not be a permanent situation.
Yes. Too expensive.
Extremely costly.
Yes.
And a lot of the individuals needed a lot of social services help, as well as just somewhere to stay. So you incorporate all of those things, and we as a city, we already fund some of the organizations like Restart, like I said, the Salvation Army, Hope House, and those places had quite a few rooms and beds available. We just needed to try to coordinate matching the need with those that were those organizations. And the report that was given was saying that we were able to find everyone a place to, or let me put it this way: we were able to at least offer everyone a place to go. Now they didn't necessarily have to. Some folks chose, to get back on the street.
Right.
And at their, their discretion. Because one of the things that happens is with those organizations, there are, there are rules, there are regulations that have to be followed.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes get individuals who don't necessarily want to be confined to, regulations.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But the homeless problem, not only here in Kansas City, but across the nation, is one of the saddest thing when you think of how much money is in this country, that we have to have people, especially people who are, like you said, need social services, people who are now mentally ill, or have other challenges, drugs, alcohol, whatever the case may be.
Right.
We're just, it's really hard to imagine that we allow those people to just live out there,
Right.
because of our system. And I'm not going to get too deep into that, but because of our system, it doesn't take care of the needy like that.
And Missouri itself is, it's ranked near the bottom
Mhm.
as it relates to helping fund those social services needs.
That's
And
sad. That's sad.
it really is. I mean,
But
I
but let's jump on into your committee, just so that we get that out. And we're coming up on that half hour. We're closer to 40 minutes now, but that's no problem. If you got the time, we'll ride it out, bro. But let's go ahead and talk about your committee. What you got going on with the housing development?
Well, one of the major things that has just come through my committee, which I'm excited for, is that we've entered into a development agreement with an organization called Urban America,
Mm-hmm.
African American owned developer out of Texas, to develop the property at 63rd and Prospect. Probably prior to you even leaving, that property was, a lot of houses were torn down and
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of asbestos issues, and the city put over $15 million into cleaning that site up. That was 20 years ago.
Yes.
And so I took it upon myself to champion the cause to make sure development happens there. It's been said some time ago that corner there, that area there, was some of the most prime area for us to have decent development, particularly within the urban core, and not just urban core, but within the city.
Within the city, yes.
Yeah. So what we're looking to do is put some multifamily housing there, some retail,
Mm-hmm.
a hotel.
Mm-hmm. Hotel.
Yeah, and some offices.
Man.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that, man. It's been a little struggle trying to
Get it there.
get off the dime to get that to happen, but I think it's going to happen here.
That is some wonderful news. And for those who are not familiar with the city of Kansas City, 63rd and Prospect is what we call the research corridor, because Research Hospital sits over there. Research Hospital gained its fame because that's where President Truman passed, or his wife. if I remember correctly, was at Research Hospital. That whole area, like the councilman was saying, it used to be bustling prime territory down there. I mean, 63rd and Prospect, you can go up there and it was Carpet Corners at one time, then a fish house came in, there was a couple of gas stations, Osco, or the drugstore that turned into CVS, that was up there. I mean, that corner was always busy, and there was always lots of traffic there. And of course, with Research Hospital, there used to be a bank in the area. I don't think they're there anymore.
Well, there is one now.
Oh, okay.
Bank of America has a facility right next to the CVS.
That's right. That's right. Yes. I was thinking more up the street and closer to oh man, what's the other boulevard that runs east west? Meyer. Yes, sir.
Well, it was a bank there. It was called Jackson State Bank.
Yes, Jackson State. That is it. Yeah. See, that's what happens when you're gone for such a long period of time. You lose all that. But that is fantastic news to hear that there's going to be that type of development in that area. Any other concerns or things that you would like the public to know, especially as it pertains to your committee or what the mayor is trying to do with the movement of the funds? Is there anything else that you would want our community to know about at this time?
Well, one of the things that's happening, it's not one of the sexy things that cities do, but it's something that has to happen, and it's necessary. People may see over the last, particularly over the last 8 months or so, that we're doing a lot of road work. Mm-hmm. Our infrastructure is, at one point people would go and find tires and getting wheel alignments all over the place. But we're finally at a point where we're getting a handle on that, and we're putting more money into that. That's not the sexy kind of things that people see, but those are things that cities do.
Right.
Particularly cities who want to continue to grow and want to have safe cities.
Right.
Because having torn up roadways that's extremely unsafe, and it can cause accidents and all those kind of things. Right. That's one of the things that people may be noticing that's happening quite a bit over the last 8 months, and we plan to continue that for the next couple of years. And at that point, our roadways will be
much better, much improved.
They're much improved. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Before you move on, let me just ask you, there was a little bit of controversy with the city manager as he came in. There was something going on about his contract wasn't fully disclosed, if I remember correctly. But I don't want to talk about the controversy. I want to talk about the relationship with the new city manager and the city council.
Yeah, well, I think it's been a good relationship. He has been one to come in and kind of listen to the concerns of each of his 13 bosses. Essentially, that's what we are. He reports to 13 different folks, and we can understand how difficult that could be for anyone. But I think he's learning a lot, and I think he's bringing a lot of innovative pieces to the table. It's going to help us move forward. And I'll just, with all full disclosure, I was one of the ones that did not vote for him. But just because I didn't vote for him doesn't mean that once he gets here that I won't work with the person that's in the office, because that's what my job is, to make sure that my constituents are heard and they're taken care of, just like anyone else in the city. But I think he's done a decent job at this point.
Fantastic. I want to drop just another little thing on our audience before I let you go, because when I told people about the relationship between you and I at the top of the show, I forgot to also mention you family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your sister is married to my wife's brother, who has
Yes,
recently passed.
yes.
And that's how we became family as well. I didn't even know that until I think I was here on a function, and your sister was there, and you walked in, and it's like,
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
That was
it's like, oh man, I had no idea y'all were related. But that goes to show how close we are. And before we wrap this up, Councilman Barnes, and I wanna put that respect on your name, because you didn't put in some work, brother.
well. We've tried to we try to hold up to what we do as an elected official,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, my thing is to always be transparent and to be as honest with folks as possible, and knowing and understanding that you're not going to agree on everything that I say or that I propose, but you know, as long as we have the level of respect and understanding that I'm doing what I think is best for this entire city, and in particular our community, I think we can work well.
That is fantastic. Also, just real quick, I heard that you said the council. I know that it's 13, but that includes the mayor, if I
Yes,
remember correctly. So the actual city council is actually 12 members,
right, exactly.
and I heard there's 3 other black city councilmen on the council, or
Yes,
um, another brother and 2 females, if I remember correctly.
right, right.
And I was saying, well, man, that's about a third of the council right there. I mean, would these guys have a little power here sitting in Kansas City?
I think we have more than we realize sometimes.
And I hope there's a good relationship with all 4 of you.
Yes, there is. There is.
I'm trying to remember the brother's name. Brandon.
Brandon.
I've seen him on the news because he's out and about in the community. That's who I would like to get to next, as far as an interview request, is to sit down with the brother and talk about the work he has done. But before I miss this, Councilman Barnes, what's the next step in your career?
Man, I don't look as old as I am. So listen, I'm ready. I'm ready to retire. Actually.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna tell your age, but I knew you were a few years younger than me, and I'm damn near 70.
Yeah, I'm not quite that old, but and I said I'm ready to, but but I'm not ready to financially, probably. But
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah, so you know, I'll be on the council for another couple of years, and then after that, I'm sure I'll work in the private sector for another few years, and you know, probably in development or something.
Okay, you're not thinking about acquiring another business at this point?
Man, no, that's a young man's game. Yeah,
Man, there's been so much change after 26 years and getting back into the city and starting to get in touch with people. I did an interview with Mickey Dean prior to this one. Matter of fact, just the last time I broadcast twice a month. And I did an interview with Mickey Dean, Baba Mickey Dean, I should say, because Mickey Dean has really put in some work in the community. And as I said in that broadcast, he probably brought up as many young men out in the community as most fathers had brought into the community. Mickey Dean has worked with that many young men. Right. But then I heard about the split with the boys, and that, I mean, even though I wasn't here, just hearing about that just broke my heart, especially between 2 giants, Leon Dixon and Bill Grace.
Yeah, man, that's a long story. That
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of it, and I don't want to get into that because I know there was a lot of heartache in that, and like I said, just me hearing it, from the outside, it's like, no, how can this be?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, these two brothers started this whole thing way back when, and they used to be as thick as thieves.
Right, right. Well, and I think their relationship is still intact. But there was one guy who worked with all of us in the front and in WB Du Bois, uh, made a statement. I won't call his name, but he made a statement that this was after Du Bois has been, Du Bois has been around 45 years, and the statement was, "No one says we have to do this forever." You know, particularly at the level of uh, a particular organization.
Hmm.
We all have to continue in the struggle to get forever
Mm-hmm.
until our time on this earth is up. I honestly believe that.
Right.
But I think different stages, different individuals have to come in and help take on some of the other organizations.
And that's one of the things I was very happy to hear about with the Kansas City chapter of the Front, that they have turned that over to some new leadership. I had a chance to speak to that young brother, to lead, like him a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do some good things for us. In fact, I'm planning another interview with him, probably within another 3 or 4 weeks, just to get me up to date. I did see their convention last weekend, and enjoyed, because it was all online. I only saw Saturday because I was tied up on Sunday, but I really enjoyed what I saw on Saturday with the 42nd annual Black United Front convention. So
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, Brother Lee. I really appreciate that. Man, look here, we're going to have to hook up and just sit down for a minute just to get caught up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice doing it here, but as I'm starting to get myself more active, I had to fight a few things after I got back here. But as I start to get myself more active, I'm going to reach out and let's see if we can get together and sit down, maybe smoke a cigar, have a beer, or something like that.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen, man. Appreciate you inviting me out, bro.
And I appreciate you appearing. You enjoy the rest of your day. Councilman, excuse me, 5th District Councilman, 5th District at Large Councilman Lee Barnes Jr. I appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy schedule and appearing with me tonight. And I'm going to hold you up on that. The number that you called me on, that's my cell phone.
Okay.
Was that a cell phone that you called me on?
Yes.
Then I can hit you back.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, you can hit me on that number as well.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, again, Councilman Barnes, thank you very much. I wish you the best in all of your endeavors. And I really wish the best in that project that you disclosed to us with the development up on 63rd and Prospect. That is great news to hear, and we're going to look forward to that project.
Sounds good, brother.
All right.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, brother. We'll be in touch.
All right. Take care now.
You too, sir. Have a good one. Y'all stay with me. I'm going to keep things rolling here. I'll go ahead and get him out. There we go. And just stay with me a few more minutes. I got a little bit of a delight for you. I'm going to have to switch and share my screen with you, but I think you may enjoy that. And again, that is the 5th District at Large City Councilman Lee Barnes we were just talking to. I want to make sure everybody understands that. And let's go ahead and jump into what I got coming up here next. I was happening to be watching a couple of things on YouTube this morning, and one of the things that I found were two things. That one was very disturbing, the other one was just a joy to see. And I just happened to have a video clip of that I'm going to share with you. The first piece of that video clip is the part that I said is very disturbing. Just want y'all to know why it's so important for local police in a city like Kansas City to come out of our community, because this clip that you're going to see will plainly show you why it's necessary. So give me a second. I'll transition into that and we'll go ahead and take a peep at it. Stay with me.
New York, folks, where a New York police officer is on administrative punching a black woman in the throat. In this video, Officer Rory Spain is dragging and then punching Tyrena Edmonds in the throat while trying to detain her. Officers were called to Walmart. Reports of a fight between 5 to 6 people. Once they arrived on the scene, employees alleged they were pepper sprayed and threatened by Edmonds and her sister. Yeah, watch this. Now, she is charged with second-degree attempted assault of a police officer, fourth-degree criminal mischief, second-degree harassment, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and obstruction of governmental administration. Yeah, and then, of course, he was not to...
I'm about to go lay down. Yeah, yeah. Go lay down. Go. Oh. Lay down. I'm about to go lay down. I'm about to go lay down. Look at your neighbor and say, go lay down. Go lay down. Yeah. Yeah. Go lay down. Oh. Go lay down. Yeah. Go lay down. Hey, go lay down, go lay down. I'm about to go lay down. Yeah, yeah. Go lay down. Go. Oh. Lay down. I'm about to go lay down. I'm about to go lay down. Look at your neighbor and say, go lay down. Go lay down. Yeah. Yeah. Go lay down. Oh. Go lay down. Yeah. Go lay down. Hey, go lay down, go lay down. Go. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Lay down. Lay down. Yeah. Go lay down. Lay down. Yeah. I'm about to go lay down, go lay down. Lay down. Oh. 'Cause I'm feeling tired. Been working all day and day.
Truly inspiring, that last piece. I hope y'all heard that. Hope I had my share on. I think I did. If I didn't, y'all didn't hear it. And I do apologize for that, but I hope you did. But anyway, the first part of that clip was very, very disturbing. When you have a police officer attack a woman to the point to where he has to hit her in her throat to bring her down, that is so disrespectful. There was 2 other women with her, if you noticed in the video. But my biggest question was, where were the men in that supermarket? Where were the men in that supermarket? Because a real man would have walked up to that cop and whooped his behind for the way he was treating those sisters. We got to understand, and I don't know who took the video, but we got to get out of that. Taking the video and reporting is good, but while you're doing that, let's do something about what we're seeing. Now, taking the video is going to do us some good. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not. It is. But at the same time, hey, I need some brothers over here. They over here jumping on this woman. Where the brothers at? I need some help over here. Hey, y'all got to see that these cops they ain't playing with us no more. Now, I'm not telling y'all to do anything to the police, but when the police is doing wrong, Malcolm said wrong is wrong no matter who it is. So when you see a cop doing wrong, I'm going to say it. Brothers, do what you got to do. The cop is wrong. You don't punch a female in the throat. You don't do that. And then Najee was tired, got home from work. She said she worked a 14-hour shift. And as she realized it was time for her to lay down, this musical moment came over her. And she just started singing, Go Lay Down. Which is beautiful. Just goes to show the genius of our people, the musical genius of our people. And then in the second clip, that brother that I know he wasn't a brother, but the gentleman that was playing that organ, I don't know who you are, your name, but you've been around the black church. You know how to play organ. And then the last clip, the brother got the R&B beat in it, put a little hip hop to it. Oh man, that was off the chain, that last beat. I really enjoyed that. It was just fun. But it goes to show the creativity that is within our people. I'm going to take a few minutes with you and just get you guys to understand something about who we are as a people. When you look at music in this country, with the exception of classical, and I'll come back to classical in a minute, but when you look at all other forms of music that came out of America, yeah, you're right, came from us. Came from us. Well, what about country music? We don't see. Do y'all realize they were black cowboys? Yeah, there were black cowboys out there. Bulldogging, invented by a black cowboy. Bill Pickett, check it out. Hey, but rock and roll, that's us. Jazz, that's us. Blues, well, used to be us. They're trying to take it, but we started it. Gospel, that's us. But again, they trying to take it. Our creativity as a people is insane. What we can do with music. Which brings me to a message that I want to deliver to all my African brothers and sisters. We need to understand the power of who we are. White supremacy and capitalism has ground us down to a nub, literally a nub. We have no historical memory of who we are. I just showed you in 3 clips the creativity, the ingenuity, the styling, collectively, my brothers and sisters, when our voices come together collectively, I want y'all to hear me now. Hear me. When our collective voices come together, we are the trumpet that can bring the walls of Jericho tumbling down. Let that sink in for a minute. Think about it. We need to understand the power of who we are as a people. Please understand, learn your heritage, your real history. Because what they gave you in school is not it. Even if you went to college, you still didn't get your true history. Very powerful stuff there. Look at that. Use that as an example. Keep in mind, collectively, we are a mighty people. Very mighty people, collectively. So it's very important that we begin to understand that other people that look like me are not the enemy. They can be, but I don't want the people that look like me to be my enemy. I want them to be my brother in arms, my sister in arms. Black church, sleeping giant. How do we awaken you? How can we bring the black church back to its prestigious position as a place where we can come, where we can talk, where we can fellowship, where we can plant? Black church, time for you to stand up. If you look at the Christian right, there is something called the Tea Party. The Tea Party has put 2 presidents into office, George W. Bush and Donald J. Trump. The sad thing about it, the Tea Party, before I say this, do you understand that the Tea Party is taxed enough already? That's what they say. Taxed enough already. That's the Tea Party. But it's the far right in the Republican Party. What they call the Christian right. Well, black community, if there's a Christian right, there should be a Christian left, who is all about the people. Where are you guys? Black church, we need to hear y'all. See, God works in mysterious ways. That pandemic last year made y'all have to do something different. You have to learn how to use social media in order to do your services. Well, Black Church, I hope you're still using social media to do your service. Don't stop now. You need to come out of those buildings. We need to be out here among the people. Jesus did not preach from the pulpit. Yeah, I said it. Jesus did not preach from the pulpit. He walked among the people. Churches, we need you among the people. The people need healing. The people need help. We are spiritually and morally bankrupt in this country. Black Church, we need to go to work. That's my commentary for tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in live for the program. And if you didn't catch it live, it'll be posted to Facebook. I will be back on the air August 5th, I believe, is the first Monday of August. My special guest will be Kamal Franklin with the Community Movement Builders and Black Power Media. Really looking forward to that conversation. You guys should join me. I think you'll get a lot out of it. And if you haven't figured out what I'm doing is about bringing unity to our community. We are past the point where we need to unify. We are way past the point. We don't have to agree on anything other than the need for us to come together. We are more powerful like this than like that. Do you understand that concept? With that, the KCOG is going to sign off. Hopefully, everyone enjoy the rest of your evening. Again, see me in 2 weeks. I believe it's August 5th. Again, my guest will be Kamal Franklin with Community Movement Builders. And I'm really looking forward to that show. So you guys join me if you can. And enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking things out. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with the councilman and the video clips. I'm out of here. Have a good night. Peace and power to the people.